Welcome back to TPS. I'm Justin's Fraction. Every NFL team has its roster set. Training camp is done. The regular season is on the way. Let's get down to business. Last year, we made some colossal mistakes. This included picking the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the Super Bowl, the Oakland Raiders to win the AFC West, and the Indianapolis Colts and Chicago Bears to be, well, not very good football teams. Well, it's time to give it another guess as to how all 32 teams will pan out in 2019. Let's get into our record predictions for every club, and don't forget to tell us why we're right or wrong about your team's projected record in the comments section. At TPS, we post videos every single day, so don't forget to click the subscribe button to subscribe. Then click the notification bell to be notified when we post a new video. Arizona Cardinals 4-12. Kyler Murray will try to help the Cardinals rebound from 3 straight non-playoff seasons, but this is a rebuilding year in the desert. Keep your expectations low. The Cardinals play in perhaps football's toughest division. You can mark down 2 losses against the Rams and probably the Seattle Seahawks too. The Cardinals also have contenders like the Ravens, Saints, Steelers, and Browns on their schedule. Very few winnable games on tap for the Cards here. Expect a difficult year for Murray and his teammates. Atlanta Falcons 10-6. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Devonta Freeman round out an offensive juggernaut. The defense should improve after spending most of last year without young stars Deion Jones and Keanu Neal. The Falcons are looking at a 3-2 start at best through their first 5 games. They open up at Minnesota, then comes a home game against Philadelphia, then a road game in Indy, then a tough home game against Tennessee, then a tough road game in Houston. Save for a pair of contests against the arch-rival Saints in the second half, Atlanta's schedule gets a lot easier. They'll finish strong down the stretch and record double-digit wins. Baltimore Ravens 9-7. The Ravens boast perhaps the best defense in football, and free agent addition Earl Thomas should make this lockdown secondary even scarier. At best, the Ravens are probably splitting the season series against their AFC North foes in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. They have some very tough road contests in Kansas City, Seattle, and at Los Angeles against the Rams. At least they get New England and Houston at home. A tough schedule with no easy stretches plus an improved division might lead to a non-playoff year in Baltimore. Buffalo Bills 6-10. With an elite defense, strong rushing game, and future star QB in Josh Allen, the Bills have all the tools to surprise us in 2019. But the AFC East is going to be tougher, and the entire conference got to be better this season. The nice part is that the Bills are starting at a potential 3-0 start, with road contests against the 2 New York teams to open up their season, before coming home to face Cincinnati in Week 3. But games against Philly and Cleveland midseason aren't ideal. Why else do we project a 6-win season? Listen to this stretch of games from Week 13 to 16. At Dallas versus Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, and at New England. Good luck, Bills, you'll need it. Carolina Panthers 7-9. They should be considered a sleeper team in 2019, but questions surrounding the health of Cam Newton's shoulder and now mild foot sprain remain. If he's not 100%, you can take Carolina out of the playoff race. We're not sure if the Panthers are capable of overcoming a tough schedule. It's reasonable to expect a pair of losses to New Orleans. Probably a split against division rival Atlanta. Road games against Houston, Green Bay, and Indianapolis aren't promising. They also have to host the NFC champion Rams in Week 1. Even if Newton is fully healthy, the Panthers' tough schedule might lead to their undoing. Chicago Bears 10-6. The league's best defense from a year ago, an inevitable improvement from Mitch Trubisky. It's easy to believe that the Bears can even be better in 2019. But we just think the NFC North will be a lot tougher this season. The Bears have 2 horrendous stretches in their schedule. From Week 7 to 11, they'll play versus New Orleans, versus Chargers, at Philly, versus Detroit, at Rams. From Weeks 14 to 17, they'll play versus Dallas, at Green Bay, versus Kansas City, and at Minnesota. They should contend for the division and Super Bowl again, but a horrendous schedule means the Bears go from 12 to 10 wins in 2019. Cincinnati Bengals 4-12. They were already one of the worst teams in football last year, and things could get much worse. 2019 first-round pick Jonah Williams will likely miss his entire rookie year because of a shoulder injury. Top wideout A.J. Green is expected to miss significant time. New head coach Zach Taylor has to prove he's capable of such a prominent role. And no, Andy Dalton just isn't very good anymore. The defense is horrible. All 3 AFC North Division foes have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Cleveland Browns 11-5. We firmly believe the Browns will win the AFC North. Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Odell Beckham Jr., and Jarvis Landry will lead an offensive machine in 2019. Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, and Myles Garrett will anchor a championship-caliber defense. It's reasonable to expect they split their season series with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Cleveland will probably fall at Foxborough in Week 8, too. But 2 games against Cincy, plus 3 easy AFC East opponents, and road games in Denver and Arizona shape up to be a very manageable schedule. Bank on double-digit wins and a division title for the Browns. Dallas Cowboys 10-6. The Cowboys haven't made the playoffs in an odd year since the 2009 season, and America's team hasn't made it in consecutive years since 2006 and 7. Can they buck the trend once and for all? They have one of the best front sevens in football. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper form one of the best offensive triplets, too. Because of a tough schedule, we expect Dallas to match their win total from 2018. They'll likely split with the Eagles. They're probably going to lose in New England and New Orleans. Home games against Green Bay and the Rams, plus road contests in Chicago and Detroit won't be easy. It is. Hopefully that's enough for at least the wild card spot. Denver Broncos 5-11. No doubt the Broncos are better on paper, but this is still a rebuilding year. Joe Flacco and Drew Lock are an upgrade over any QB Denver has had over the last 3 years, but it doesn't mean the offense will take much of a leap. Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, and Philip Lindsay round out a nice core on offense. The pass rush will remain elite under Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, but there are still too many holes on this Denver team. You can't expect much of a rebound. Expect season series sweeps at the hands of the Chargers and Chiefs. They'll lose at Green Bay, Houston, and Indianapolis as well. The Broncos might even win less than 5 games. 7 is their ceiling. They're still a couple years away from contending again. Detroit Lions 6-10. They have the potential to surprise us in 2019, but they play in a brutal NFC North division. The Lions won't be boring, not with Trey Flowers and Damon Snacks Harrison anchoring a top-tier pass rush. Matthew Stafford gets to improve his chemistry with 2018 breakout receiver Kenny Golladay and flashy running back Kerryon Johnson too. However, with a brutal early season stretch that sees them play the Chargers, Eagles, Chiefs, Packers, and Vikings during weeks 2 to 17 might sink the Lions early. Expect another losing season. Green Bay Packers 10-6. Packers win division on tiebreak. Don't expect an Aaron Rodgers-led team to miss the playoffs 3 years in a row. There are questions about how he'll work alongside new head coach Matt LaFleur, but Rodgers will figure it out. It's the defense we can't stop raving about, adding Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, Zadarius Smith, and Rashawn Gary to an already stout defense. For once, their D might be the Packers' identity. A superior in-division record will give the Packers the NFC North against the Bears. Other than tough back-to-back road games against the Chiefs and Chargers in weeks 8 and 9, there isn't a difficult stretch in the schedule. The Packers will take back the division crown in 2019. Houston Texans 11-5. We initially believed the Texans would be knocked off the AFC South crown here, but Andrew Luck's retirement changes everything. Now, the Texans started out 0-3 last year and still managed to win the AFC South with an 11-5 record. Deshaun Watson still has no room to get better. He, DeAndre Hopkins, and Duke Johnson round out an explosive offense. The defense has question marks, but J.J. Watt is a total game changer on his own. Second-year safety Justin Reed is ready to take giant steps. The D will hold its ground, and the Texans will win the division for the 4th time in 5 years. Indianapolis Colts 6-10. The Colts were the favorites to win the AFC South coming into this season, and they were a trendy pick to win the AFC. But following Andrew Luck's shocking retirement, the Colts go from Super Bowl hopeful to who knows where. Maybe Frank Reich can help develop Jacoby Brissett even more, and maybe the Colts squeak out 8 or 9. But you don't replace a guy of Luck's caliber, and the AFC South is tougher than ever before. Once again, the Colts will sink back to the bottom of the divisional standings. Jacksonville Jaguars 8-8. Nick Foles is a massive upgrade over Blake Bortles, and the Super Bowl 52 MVP should help transform this offense into a relevant unit for once. D.D. Westbrook and Marquise Lee are vastly underrated receivers, and Leonard Fournette is a true game changer when healthy. The Jacksonville defense is this team's biggest strength, however. This unit gives Jacksonville a chance to win every game, but it's going to come down entirely to the offense in 2018. We're just not sure how Foles will perform outside of Doug Peterson's offense. So we'll be modest with the predictions here. Kansas City Chiefs 12-4. The Chiefs are one non-D forward offside penalty away from winning the AFC last season. With the best QB and most potent offense in football, there's no reason to expect regression from the Chiefs in 2019. New defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo will at least be an upgrade over Bob Sutton. Adding Frank Clark and Tyrann Mathieu to a flawed defense should help as well. Mahomes has outplayed Tom Brady in both their matchups thus far. This time, the reigning MVP gets the best of TB12 on the scoreboard when the teams meet at Foxborough in Week 14. That ultimately seals the top seed for the Chiefs. Most of their difficult games, namely against Green Bay, Baltimore, Indy, and Houston, are at home too. Once again, the path to Super Bowl 54 runs through KC in the AFC. Los Angeles Chargers 11-5. No reason to expect much regression from the Chargers. Having Joey Bosa and Hunter Henry for a full year will do wonders. But the Chargers will likely split with the Chiefs, and since they're never that dominant at home, it's safe to mark off at least 2 losses between the Steelers, Colts, Texans, and Packers. There are trap games on the road against Detroit, Jacksonville, and Tennessee too. But once again, the Chargers do more than enough to land a wild-card spot in the AFC. Los Angeles Rams 12-4. Can the Rams avoid a Super Bowl hangover? We think Sean McVay's squad will be among the top title contenders. Expect losses to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Dallas. They have it tough against the Saints in Week 2. You know New Orleans will be hell-bent on revenge. Visits to Atlanta and Seattle are never easy. But the Rams are still the most talented team in football. Once again, they locked down the NFC West and a first-round bye. Miami Dolphins 3-13. A new head coach, a young and unproven QB in Josh Rosen. No true playmaking wide receivers, no pass rush. Little talent on defense. It's going to be a rough year in Miami. They're tanking heading into 2019. This may be the least talented team in football now. Dolphins fans should be happy with about 5 wins. Minnesota Vikings 9-7. They're a popular pick to bounce back after going from 2017 NFC runner-ups to no playoffs in 2018. But Kirk Cousins still has to prove himself, and the Packers and Bears will make life very tough for Minnesota. The Vikings have a tough schedule. They're looking at least 3 losses inside the division. Expect Seattle to kick their butts in Week 13. Road games at Dallas and Kansas City will be difficult too. They probably won't make it to double-digit wins, but 9 wins might be enough to earn a playoff spot. You never know. New England Patriots 11-5. At age 42, Tom Brady won't be an MVP candidate anymore. Losing Rob Gronkowski hurts, but Antonio Brown will offset his departure. The Pats have an elite receiving trio and should remain an explosive offense. The Patriots have a great chance to start out 7-0, but they'll get 4 divisional games over their first 7 contests, plus games against the lowly Redskins and Giants. But who knows? The Bills or Jets might pull off an upset. A home game versus Pittsburgh in Week 1 won't be that easy either. Things get tough between Weeks 8 and 14, versus Cleveland, at Baltimore, at Philadelphia, versus Dallas, at Houston, and versus Kansas City. But the Patriots will manage. New Orleans Saints 3-13. For the 3rd straight year, we have the Saints winning the top record in the NFC with a 13-3 record. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, and Alvin Kamara lead an offensive juggernaut. This defense isn't horrible anymore, and the Saints will be quite angry about losing out on a Super Bowl berth because of a horrible blown call last season. The Saints have maybe the best roster in football. You have to assume they'll win all 8 games at home. How about the losses? Well, visits to the Rams and Seahawks in Weeks 2 and 3 respectively aren't appealing. The Saints could also drop their Week 7 game in Chicago, or they might drop a game against Carolina or Atlanta. But they're our pick to earn the best record in the NFL. New York Giants 3-13. The Giants won just 5 games in 2018. Their best player, Odell Beckham Jr., is gone. A fading and past his prime Eli Manning is still their QB. Pro Bowl safety Landon Collins is also gone. There's not a lot of winnable games on their schedule. They have 2 versus Washington, plus home games against Arizona and Miami. The Giants should be considered a prime favorite to earn the first overall pick. New York Jets 7-9. Improvement is inevitable for QB Sam Darnold. New head coach Adam Gase will do wonders for Darnold, Le'Veon Bell, Jamison Crowder, and Robbie Anderson on offense. The defense will be a top-tier unit with Quinnen Williams and C.J. Mosley joining Leonard Williams and Jamal Adams. But they'll be swept by the Patriots as usual. They'll probably split with Buffalo. They'll lose to Dallas and Philadelphia, probably at Baltimore and versus Pittsburgh too. There will be lots of fun games in Gang Green's schedule in 2019, but it's too soon to dream about the playoffs. Oakland Raiders 5-11. They added names like Colin Farrell, Jonathan Abram, Trent Brown, Tyrell Williams, LaMarcus Joyner, and Josh Jacobs. Sure, but Derek Carr is just not that great. The rest of the O-line has question marks and the defense is still a mess. The AFC West has two prime Super Bowl contenders in Kansas City and Los Angeles. The Raiders won't be ultra boring in 2019, but they won't contend. Philadelphia Eagles 11-5. The Eagles were close to reaching a second straight NFC championship in 2018. They're a prime contender to win Super Bowl 54 thanks in large part to a juggernaut offense that added Deshaun Jackson, Jordan Howard, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. A hopefully healthy Carson Wentz will make a huge difference too. The Eagles also have the 7th easiest schedule heading into 2019. Luckily they're versus New England, Chicago, and Seattle at home. They should avoid a season sweep versus Dallas. A split is more likely. The Eagles will capture their second division title in 3 years, and don't be surprised if they're back in the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh Steelers 10-6. There's more than enough talent on both sides of the ball for the Steelers to return to the playoffs. Don't panic if they're slow through the first half or so. The Steelers have tough games in New England, versus Seattle, versus Baltimore, and at the Chargers through their first 6 games. Pittsburgh has a crucial 3-game stretch from weeks 8 to 10, including difficult contests against the Colts and Rams, but their schedule eases up through the final 6 weeks. That's where we expect Pittsburgh to come in hot and push for a playoff spot. They should win in Cincy, at Arizona, versus Buffalo, and at the Jets over the final 6-game stretch. San Francisco 49ers 8-8. The 49ers have the potential to grow into a Super Bowl contender. We just need Jimmy Garoppolo to be healthy and all. Can the 49ers handle life in a very difficult NFC West division? They're losing at least 2 games between the Rams and Seahawks. Expect the same for road losses against Baltimore and New Orleans. Home games against Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Carolina, and Green Bay won't be easy. If Jimmy G stays healthy and the talent comes together, they can be better than we project. Seattle Seahawks 8-8. The Seahawks are a pick to regress in 2019. Questions on offense remain, especially with Doug Baldwin retired. The defense lost Frank Clark and Earl Thomas. There's not a lot of talent left on that secondary. The Seahawks have a brutal stretch from weeks 2 to 8. This includes games at Pittsburgh versus New Orleans versus the Rams, at Cleveland versus Baltimore, and at Atlanta. Road games against Philly, the Rams, and Carolina between weeks 12 to 15 aren't ideal either. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 5-11. We should be optimistic. This team hired a great head coach in Bruce Arians. The man has the ability to turn around Jameis Winston. How will the Bucs improve after losing 2 of their top receivers in Deshaun Jackson and Adam Humphries? Will the defense step up after cutting Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy? Tampa Bay will lose at least 4 divisional games. Road contests at Tennessee and Seattle midseason aren't ideal either. Also not sure if this team will be able to come away with the home wins against Indianapolis and Houston, 2 hopeful AFC contenders. Tennessee Titans 9-7. The Titans have recorded 3 straight 9-win seasons. We like to give them more, but it's not possible when you consider that their 3 division rivals are all strong playoff contenders. The Titans should be happy if they can win 3 games inside the AFC South. So let's assume they go 3-3 there. Then what? Well, they're probably losing at Cleveland in week 1. It might be difficult to escape with a week 4 road win against Atlanta too. Give them 5 losses there. The Titans will host 3 heavyweights in New Orleans, Kansas City, and the Los Angeles Chargers. They're probably dropping 2 of those. There, now you have 7 losses. That's just our guess. The Titans are talented enough to win 11 games. They're also frustrating enough to lose double-digit contests. We found a happy medium and chose 9. Tell us how we did in January. Washington Redskins 4-12. Either inconsistent journeyman Case Keenum or unproven rookie Dwayne Haskins will be the starting quarterback. The Redskins have no true number 1 pass catchers and a leaky defense. 2 of their division foes are prime Super Bowl contenders. Their owner doesn't care about how bad and dysfunctional the team is. Other than that, all is fine. The Redskins have 2 winnable games against the Giants, plus a Week 6 contest in Miami. They might pull off an upset win at home over a team like Detroit, the Jets, or San Francisco. Otherwise, there's not a lot to like going into 2019. You Redskins fans should just be happy if they somehow avoid a last-place finish in the NFC East. Or maybe you're cheering for the first overall pick in 2020. Which NFL team do you think will have the best record in 2019? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.